Welcome to DNA's Birding Adventures. This is our first time in Nebraska along the Platte River. We're up for some trains and hopefully some cranes on our visit. We left a day early so that we could beat the storm coming in. I'm glad we did. We headed to North Platte, Nebraska first for some exploration. Nebraska, home of the good life and Arbor Day? I don't see any trees. Nebraska is actually home to the largest sand dune in the Western Hemisphere. We have to drive up there. We also learned that North Platte has the largest train yard in the world. We were driving north and saw this huge flock. We thought they were sandhill cranes. They turned out to be snow geese, thousands of them. Welcome to Nebraska. And Nebraska is home to runza. It's an interesting sandwich with meat and cheese inside. Runza, yum! North Platte is bordered by the North and South Platte rivers. We stayed at the Comfort Inn and then just explored around. We went to Yanney Park. There's the Buffalo Bill Ranch site and then the Golden Spike Tower. Then we headed north on our way to Kearney along the sandhills. And lots of surprises along the way. Here we go. Okay, we've never seen flocks of red-winged blackbirds this large before. It was incredible. You can find them all over in North America and up in Canada where they breed as well. Huge flocks of birds were kind of the theme of our trip this time. We had those snow geese, and then you can hear the sandhill cranes in the background, and then these guys, they were fun to watch. These were mostly male red-winged blackbirds that were congregated together, and we did find a couple brown-headed cowbirds and some European starlings in the mix. The birds were so thick you could cut them with a knife. You could see their little red shoulder pads. It seemed like this is the last time that they flocked together because later on in our trip we saw them each individually sitting on their little posts waiting for the females to come back, sitting on their cattails. I know. This reminded Dave and me both of scuba diving along a bait ball where they all moved together. Okay, that's enough. We actually really enjoyed watching the blackbirds. It was one of the highlights of our trip. Next stop, the Golden Spike Tower and the train yard, the world's largest. This rail yard is 2,850 acres, 8 miles long, and the largest in the world. Okay, we got our commemorative Golden Spike Tower tickets, signed by E. Bailey himself. This rail yard was an ideal spot, and they called it the Railroad Town, connecting the Transcontinental Railroad.
So they build the train on each track.
Yeah.
You just gotta go in and take the whole out.
There's probably, I don't know, 1,000 sandhill cranes over there in the field. They're coming in for landing. And then this shows the history of the world's largest switching station. And then shows information about the sandhill cranes and their habitat, diet. They're omnivores. They weigh 11 pounds, 47 inches long, and a wingspan of 6.11 feet. And they're right out there. There's also some snow geese in a pond on the other side. But here's a switching yard. This is pretty amazing. This is called the Golden Spike. The Golden Spike is actually in Utah, where they connected the East to the West Railway. The first transcontinental railroad across the Union States, connected in the middle, the Central Pacific and Union. There's the old switching station. Now it's all run by computers. Very interesting. There's trains moving everywhere. We're gonna go down to the 6th floor. So it's the open air. It's kind of cold today. It's called the Bailey Yard, named after Ed H. Bailey, the former Union Pacific president. There's all the sandhill cranes. You can hear them kind of through the wind. All those little dots. This is the Golden Spike dining car that's parked right there outside of the Visitor Center and Spike Tower. This shows what it looks like on the inside now and what it used to look like when in its prime. Interesting, the sandhill cranes will blast off from the Platte River and then they'll spend the day in the cornfields eating and stocking up for 6 weeks in the North Platte area. After a few little dances and stocking up on some corn and insects, they will head north to Siberia, Canada, and Alaska for breeding, and you might be able to catch them doing one of their little dances. It's a good thing we left North Platte when we did. They actually had 1.5 feet of snow right after we left. We wanted to head north through the Sandhills for a little bit just to check them out before we proceeded on to Kearney, Nebraska. The roads were pretty sandy and we found a few birds along the way. We found quite a few birds and North Platte, including a couple new birds for our 2024 list, including the horned lark and the 23 bird species altogether. There's a lot more to see in North Platte, but we decided to hightail it out of there because of the storm coming. Next stop, Kearney, Nebraska, the Sandhill Crane Capital of the world. We checked into our motel and then went right to Fort Kearney Hike-Bike Trail, which is right over the North Platte. Fort Kearney Hike-Bike Trail out to the bridge that goes over the North Platte. Fort Kearney State Park has a campground, historical fort, and this hike-bike trail that runs right over the North Platte River. This is a great spot for watching the sandhill cranes fly over to their roost at night, and that's what we're hoping for in this springtime spectacle. We'll have to see. Just saw the red-bellied woodpecker, cedar waxwing, house finches, robins, sandhill cranes flying over. Pretty crazy day here. It's even cold and windy. Heading that way, we're almost to the boardwalk. It was nice to see the red-bellied woodpeckers. We saw them in Florida as well. And this cedar waxwing, first of the year for 2024. Yay, cedar waxwings. Pine cones. Oh. There's the North Platte. This will be filled with thousands of sandhill cranes pretty quick. Well, in a couple hours. Oh, yeah. It's windy and cold. It's an old railroad bridge. Now it's a bike trail. We keep hearing the sandhill cranes flying over and seeing them fly over. They're not ready to land yet. We're going to keep back to Hummingbird American tree sparrow or two, and some mallards in the water. There's a nice little pool over here. There's Dave going over the Platte River. It's cold, you can tell the storm's coming in, and we had about an hour and a half before the Sandhill Crane spectacle where they fly over, so we headed over to the historical park. And it's so interesting, Fort Kearney State Historical Park was established in 1848 originally to protect travelers on the Oregon-California Trail, but it also was part of the Pony Express area. Blacksmith shop's made out of sod. You can kind of tell. Huh. It's pretty dark in here. All the tools. Mm-hmm. Hi! It's hard to see. Wagon wheels. Oh, cannons. Huh. Stagecoach. Can barely see it. It's a fort. Fort Kearney. I wonder if you can go inside. There's a whole bunch of robins in here. There's the fort. Heading on in. There's actually I think a sharp-shinned hawk or a Cooper's hawk that ripped in through the robins and scared them all off. Oh, wow. Oh, Dave's up there. Hey there. Sharp-shinned hawks love to swoop in and eat other birds, also known as sharpies, we call them. And bird number... on guard for the sharp-shinned hawk. Oh, yay. This shows the Oregon Trail route right through Kearney, Nebraska, as well as the Mormon Trail and the Gold Rush. 30,000 people apparently went through this area heading west. These are examples of letters from the Pacific Telegraph Company and Pony Express. At the entrance to Kearney State Park, the ranger there had talked about how the Sandhill cranes will stage right there in the fields right before they fly to find their roosting spots at night. We watched them stage and do their little dances and eat while they were waiting for the sun to go down. They had to share their fields with some of the ranchers' cows, and there were a lot of new calves. They were mostly western meadowlarks, surprisingly, and then we saw this killdeer right before we headed over to the river. Okay, it's supposed to start now. All the sandhill cranes fly over after the sun sets, looking for their spot to roost on the river. We saw a few more ducks, and then it started. And here we go. It started off with just a few flying over from the fields, and then there were more and more and more, and not only just sandhill cranes. There were all sorts of flocks of ducks, and then also the snow geese. Hundreds of thousands went over our heads. Come on in, the water's fine. There's just thousands of them. They're thinking about coming in for a landing onto the Platte. It's ready for them. Hey, they're landing. Are they? Was definitely an incredible spectacle. We actually expected the sandhill cranes to park it for the night right there where we were at, but they kept heading east. And there's a spot called Rowe Sanctuary where we'll be at tomorrow, where they actually roost at night, and among other places. Dave captured a few pictures of the sandhill cranes, and we were always on the lookout for the whooping cranes. They also migrate through here from Port Aransas all the way up to the Wood Buffalo National Park in Canada. Just flew over us and landed east So we'll head back. But it was cool watching them fly over. Thousands. Probably 100,000. What a great start to our trip. We found quite a few different birds in Kearney, Nebraska, including a new one for 2024, the Sharpie or sharp-shinned hawk. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, liking, commenting on our videos. Our Nebraska trip wouldn't be complete without a blizzard. Stay tuned for tomorrow. And then we have some surprises at the end. Happy trails to you. Until next time.